Hey guys, this is Retire by 40. This channel is about me giving advice on the market, analyzing a little bit of trends here and there. And in the case of this video, I break down my portfolio on a weekly basis and we can see my gains, my losses, and what I learned or what I think I'm doing correctly in that week. So without delay, let's jump into this week. Last week I didn't make an update video because I kind of didn't have enough time, to be honest. And so I'll go a little bit over what happened last week. As you can see here, I made about $1,300, and so it was a pretty good week. It was a decent week. It was one of my highest weekly gains week over week, and it was all around propped up because of the vaccine and the potential it was bringing forth of no lockdowns, right? Well, now going on to this week, I only made about $40 because people are getting a little bit concerned because yes, we have the vaccine, but then states are also now going back to the enforcement of lockdowns, and that is not good for the economy. Really, that's not really good for anyone because it causes a lot of other issues. For a virus that has a very low death rate, it's not necessarily the best option. Anyways, because of this uncertainty, people are kind of not necessarily pulling out because we would see a really huge dip, but they're being very cautious, right? So we had a somewhat decent rally last week, and we could have continued it, but since people are being cautious, we didn't continue it. And I don't know how long this is going to be going for because there's a lot of governors and a lot of politicians that are saying that in the places that they are governing in, that they are kind of like banning gatherings for the holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. So people are seeing that as not very good, right? Because, for example, if you go over to someone's house and they don't live necessarily close by, you travel, you take a plane and you go to that person's house, and then you stimulate the economy that way because people are going and using transportation. Or for Christmas, for example, where a lot of people are buying gifts, maybe you don't go to another person's house, therefore you don't have to buy them a gift necessarily, so you don't buy more things from Amazon or Walmart or whatever, right? There's a lot of ill side effects from harsh lockdowns, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that in the holiday season because mayors, governors, etc. They're being very draconian and they're being really harsh on the lockdowns, and that's just not good for the economy. So therefore, it's not good for the investor. So having said that, I do foresee a scenario where instead of being flat for the most part, which this is what my weekly returns point towards, right? I only made $40. That's pretty flat. We're gonna actually probably be going for a dip if a lot of places and a lot of people actually do follow these measures proposed by the governors and senators or whatever. I see a scenario where maybe in the first quarter of next year we see the breakdown from these companies that usually make a lot of money through in the holidays, where they don't make a lot of money in the holidays, and a lot of people kind of losing interest or a lot losing or just pulling out in general from a particular company. So for example, like I was mentioning Amazon, right? If people are not buying gifts because they're not going to a person's house, for example, then they're going to see year over year a decrease in the amount of people buying stuff from their company. So then investors will be like, oh, well, this doesn't seem good, right? And then you add that to the fact where people are losing their jobs or are on unemployment that's, I think, ending pretty soon, and you have a whole recipe for the economy kind of going down now. I was very optimistic in the beginning of the year because it seemed like we were working towards an end goal, right, to kind of prevent the spread. But then we got the vaccine, and people are reverting back to harsher lockdowns, which doesn't really make sense, especially when the economy was actually pretty decent, right, with the previous lockdowns. But I don't think we can, if we have a second lockdown, that the economy will be able to last. But anyways, that's my rant for this week. In summary, this past week I made $40, which is a pretty flat gain, and I am right now sitting at $52,000 overall in all of my accounts, which includes Robinhood, Vanguard, 401, my 401k, and my ESPP account. So I'm sitting pretty good. However, I don't have everything invested. For example, in my Robinhood account, I only have about um, $9,000 invested, I think. And I do think that if I see a lot of places doing severe lockdowns during Thanksgiving, that will set a precedence for Christmas, and I'm just gonna start selling everything that I have because that's just not gonna bode well, and it's not me just being a greedy capitalist. It's just kind of simple economics, right? Where you have people that are being forced to shut down their businesses if they're a small business owner, or you have people that are getting laid off or being fired from their jobs, and then you have governors telling people to stay home, fueling like depression and all that stuff, and then you won't be even stimulating the economy with travel because people are going to be staying at home. You're not going to stimulate the economy through people buying stuff because they're going to be staying at home and they don't really need to. It's just going to be bad for January and February, I think, but that's just me. I'm going to be pulling out about a lot of stuff in Robinhood and Vanguard if I see a lot of states, a lot of cities doing harsh lockdowns in things for Thanksgiving, because it's just a very bad sign for the economy right now. Um, on the plus side, I will say this: once Biden was elected as the president, um, I did see a lot of ETFs and a lot of banks and a lot of companies that deal with finance gaining. So, since Biden is kind of like the establishment candidate, so to speak, I do see that at least if you invest in ETFs and if you invest in banks, that you will be making a decent amount of money, which is good because a lot of ETFs, especially that deal with banks and all that stuff, they are pretty low right now. Like they're valued pretty low. So if you buy those right now and wait maybe a year or two, which is relatively safe because I said they're pretty low or pretty cheap, then you probably stand to gain a pretty penny. So there's always that. Anyways, that's this week's portfolio breakdown. Don't forget to subscribe and comment if you have any suggestions for any videos in the future. See you guys.